Been down here in San Simeon, California for a month observing these absolutely incredibly fascinating creatures. This is as good as ranch TV with the horses. This is like ocean TV. It's so awesome, and I'd love to share with you some of this super cool footage I was able to get, and also some of the knowledge that I've learned about these amazing creatures. You may be wondering why there are so many elephant seals up on the beach. Well, this is birthing, mating, and nursing season. This one is likely a young male because you can see he's just starting to develop that proboscis, the large inflatable nose that kind of resembles an elephant trunk. They start to develop that at 7 years of age. And this one you can see is also in development with the elephant nose, but again, a fairly young male. Now here you see a lot of color variation in the seals, and this is because northern elephant seal pups are black until they're weaned at about 6 weeks old, and then they molt and they turn light silver. The adults are dark brown or gray. So here you see a pup that has been weaned because it's light silver. If this pup was still nursing and the one in behind, they would be black. As you can see, this is a young male that is trying to get spicy with a female. This female is not in heat because she has not given birth yet, and the females must birth first and then they go into heat. It's fascinating to just watch these amazing creatures because you'll see the young ones playing at mating, you'll see them playing at sparring, all of these behaviors that they're going to need in their adult life. They start to mess about with and experiment and try it on. This male is really harassing this female, or he's practicing for when he's big enough to be the mating guy, but it's not mating season. You can tell because there's no little black baby seals. They need to birth first, and then after they've given birth, the females go into heat and they're receptive to being bred. So this is just more, play and posturing and practice and all those things. This guy here, you see, there's no way he's going to be the lead bull that's going to have a harem of 40 to 50 females that he's going to impregnate. So this is probably the only time he gets to display this kind of behavior without, getting beat up by one of the other males. Elephant seals love to swim and play among the kelp forests that will often appear in these protected coves along the coast. And that's what you see, kind of just the tops of it floating in the water here. Huge, giant kelp forests. I'll show you a little bit later what they actually look like, because some of them will wash up on shore. So here we go. Here's a clump of giant kelp that has washed up on shore. And the elephant seals like it just as much on shore as they do in the ocean. Huge, thick, tangled, this is why they call them kelp forests. These are massive. I find the textures and shapes just really fascinating. I love to watch these elephant seals use their flippers to flick sand across their bodies, and they do that because it helps them to retain their moisture. The mothers especially, once they come onto the sand, they may not return to the ocean until they've birthed and mated and nursed. And so they can be on land here for a good 6 weeks before returning to the ocean. Now, when I first saw all these seagulls gathered down with the elephant seals, I was really puzzled. I could not figure out what they were doing and why they were there, but let me tell you, I'm going to show you why. It's going to become really clear why they like to hang out around the elephant seals. This cove that we came to 2 weeks later, a little further down the San Simeon coast, shows you the perfect breeding, mating, birthing spot for northern elephant seals. Their main predators are killer whales and the big sharks like the great whites. And a cove like this is just super nicely protected from everything. Now listen to the absolute racket going on here, and then I'm going to explain everything that's happening in this incredible little slice of nature we have happening here. let's look now. So as you look around, look for the little black seals. Remember, those are the newborn babies. And when they're first born, they weigh up to 80 pounds and they're up to 4 feet long. But they're still pretty vulnerable to getting squashed in the squabbles and especially the mating, because the breeding males are absolutely ginormous. A full-grown male can get up to 5,000 pounds and be 13 feet long. So the females are significantly smaller. They grow up to about 10 feet long and they weigh about 1,300 pounds. You can see some much larger males behind these two. The one closest just kind of chilled out watching them, but you can see the size difference between these younger males and then the more fully grown adult elephant seals. Watching these male elephant seals reminds me a lot of what you see in a horse herd, where you have the dominant ranking horse and the others have to give way. They have to, catch that energy from the dominant horse, and they've got to move out of the way pretty quickly. And that's exactly what I see happening here over and over again. Okay, watch this big daddy. Now you can see how these babies get squashed by these big guys. And it's kind of weird, like, why does he need to be, like, right in the middle of them? But perhaps that's where he needs to be to guard his females from other males. I mean, you can't know without hundreds of more hours spent just watching. Now, see these three babies lined up in a row? I was like, are they dead? Are they lined up there? Because they're all dead. So I had to really zoom in on those as much as I could. And then, okay, no, I could see that they're still breathing. However, you are going to see one of the reasons these birds congregate around the elephant seals, because that one is indeed dead. And you can see the other seals don't seem to be dramatic about it. They're like, well, he's dead, nothing we can do. And they kind of let the birds get at it. But that is not the birds' favorite reason to be here. I'm going to show you what that is coming up. Yep, and that is another dead little baby. It's interesting how close to the water the mother has birthed there. Maybe it's the first time mom she's not too experienced, because they can't swim at this age. They're not going to be able to swim for another month and a half. So if you have them too close to the water, you could lose your baby that way too. An interesting thing is that the bull that has established dominance as the head of the harem will sometimes have one other bull as his assistant. So this assistant helps keeps the other bulls away while the lead guy is mating. And when the lead guy is really busy, sometimes the assistant can sneak in a mating or two for himself over the course of the season. Who knows, perhaps it's a reward for a job well done. And now you're about to see why the birds really love hanging out here. Look what that bird has in the water. He just pulled in there. This mother has just given birth. And then you're going to see something else as they come in close. There you go. See there? This is what the birds are super excited about. The placenta, the afterbirth. They like that more than a dead seal. And this is interesting because I see the same thing when my baby lambs are born at the ranch. The ravens really want that placenta and afterbirth. If they go for a lamb, the only thing that they eat on the lamb are the eyes and the butthole. It's completely disgusting, but that is what it is. But the placenta and the afterbirth, they eat the whole thing. But it's just really terrible watching this poor mother. I mean, as someone who's birthed 3 children myself, you know, you're like super tired. It's a really big thing to give birth. Granted, it's easier for them. I hear it happens super quick. But still, you've just given birth. You don't want to be harassed. So here we go. Here's a male coming in to mate. This is a bigger one. Oh, just... That's a mating happening right there. And in case you're wondering, like me, how this mating actually happens, I'm going to show you a picture of the pertinent anatomy in just a few moments. And there, we're all done. Relaxing now. Let me show you something pertinent. Oh my gosh, look at her face. And the insertion point for the females is down at their tail flippers. Now let's go check on that mama who just birthed again, see how she's coping with those gulls. Also, look how close to the ocean she's birthed. Remember, the babies can't swim. And the gulls are still eating the afterbirth, so they're not gonna go away till they finish that. And here we go. It's time for another mating. You have to wonder whether the females are enjoying that at all. It's also interesting to watch the action and reaction of the other seals around the mating pair. What's interesting with the elephant seals is that the females can live up to 19 years, but the males usually only live 13 years. And the alpha male, the bull that's, doing all the mating, can have a much shortened lifespan. So this obviously takes a lot out of them. Oh, and look where the gulls are. That means there's been another birth. I must apologize for the lack of clarity in the filming right now. We are actually getting really close to sunset, but this is just so incredible that I just keep filming. But that's why it's quite grainy. There's very little light left. And this poor mother, I just have to keep checking in on her and seeing how she's doing it. This is just really hard for me to watch this poor mama. So when this mother gets a chance, she's going to nurse her pup, and she'll nurse it all day and night for a month. And then the mother leaves and returns to the oceans. The pups stay on the beach, and they spend the next 10 weeks or so gradually learning how to swim and dive while mostly living on the land. And the mother's breast milk is up to 50% fat. So the babies gain weight rapidly. During this whole month of breastfeeding, the mother does not eat, and she does not go in the ocean. So she's living off the energy stored in the fat reserves of her blubber. When she does return to the ocean, she'll feed mostly on squid and fish, but her diet will also include sharks, rays, shellfish, krill, and algae. And interestingly enough, northern elephant seals spend about 9 months of the year in the ocean. Most of this time is underwater. They can dive to depths of 2,500 feet, and they can stay underwater for half an hour, sometimes up to an hour, with only short breaks coming up to the surface. All the northern elephant seals, male and female, fast during the mating season, and they can lose up to 36% of their body weight during this time. The other time that they'll all return to land again is between March and August, when they come into molt. And the males come later than the females, but when molting occurs, they shed their short, dense fur along with large patches of old skin, and this takes about 4 to 5 weeks to complete. But the rest of the time, aside from molting, birthing, breeding, and nursing, the other 9 months of the year, they are in the ocean. Amazing, amazing animals. Thank you for joining me on this little journey into the world of elephant seals as the light fades and the fog rolls in.